Kamala Harris, in my opinion, has made an unorthodox and genuinely weird choice that could reshape the political landscape by selecting Minnesota's far-left radical governor Tim Walz as her running mate. She's defying political norms and causing many across the country to scratch their heads. What does this mean for her campaign and the nation? Get ready for an explosive breakdown of the radical things Tim Walz has done, and one thing that I think half the country or more from the get-go won't even entertain voting for this ticket. Let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're getting into Kamala Harris's latest move that can only be thought of as either the dumbest thing any presidential candidate has ever done, or she knows something the rest of us don't about the election. She's picked Minnesota's radical leftist governor Tim Walz as her running mate. Yes, that's what she did. The far-left candidate is now in the spotlight, and we're here to unpack what this means for the future of American politics. Now, typically, when a presidential candidate picks a running mate, they choose someone who can balance the ticket, someone who can win over swing states or reassure the party faithful. But not Kamala Harris. Oh, no. She's breaking the mold, if you will, and it's causing quite a stir. Could this decision backfire, or is it a strategic masterstroke? So hold tight, because we're just getting started. You know, the lefties like to complain that the Republican Party is now Trump's party, as if that's a bad thing for a Republican. But now we can say that the Democratic Party is the party of the radical progressive Marxists, because if they get nominated in Chicago, that is exactly what this ticket represents. There isn't a moderate thing between the two of them. So you have to ask, why did Hamas Harris pass over pro-Israel Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who seemed like the logical choice from a crucial swing state as Pennsylvania, my home state? Because you would think that he would consider that she could actually win Pennsylvania over Trump if she brought that governor with her. Okay? But see, the problem is that instead she went with Walz, a man known for his far-left policies as Minnesota's governor, and his radical stint in the House of Representatives, where he earned a mere 13% lifetime score from Heritage Action. Harris claims Walz is a champion for working families, but critics are painting a much darker picture. Okay, but why pick a guy from a state that you believe you're going to win anyway? This goes back to that balancing of the ticket thing, where you usually want someone from a state that you could win if you grab that guy from the state. That's why I say Josh Shapiro would have been the better choice, and Republicans would have loved her for that, because if she chose Josh Shapiro, then we would have gotten rid of him. Well, I mean, at least until Trump wins, right? Then he'd have to go back into the governorship. Now, the Trump team wasted no time in labeling this duo as a dangerously liberal ticket. Trump campaign press secretary Caroline Leavitt blasted Walz as a wannabe West Coast Democrat with aspirations to turn Minnesota into a mirror image of California. Now, we have only one California, and that's because we don't want two. Are we witnessing the birth of a political Frankenstein here on this ticket, or is this just another day in American politics for the lefties? Harris and Walz are also facing backlash from pro-life groups who describe their ticket as the most pro-abortion in history. And I think that's why she picked Walz. SBA Pro-Life America President Marjorie Dannenfelser didn't hold back, calling Walz no moderate on abortion. Are these views going to alienate a large portion of the electorate, or galvanize Harris's base even more? Walz's past comments about Trump's border wall, where he joked about investing in ladders to help them get over, reveal his open stance on immigration. He's an open borders or no borders guy, no different from Biden and Harris. He argues for more electronic measures and border control agents instead. Now, is that a sensible approach to border security, or just another liberal fantasy? Now, Breitbart News posted the following things that Walz has done, and some of them are just despicable. Ready? A June report from Minnesota's legislative auditor found that Walz's administration failed miserably in its duty to properly oversee millions of federal dollars it administered to nonprofits to feed children. The report said that Walz's alleged incompetence created opportunities for fraud. Walz signed legislation to allow minors to get sex change operations in Minnesota. Yes, he did. He signed a bill to require schools to stock period products in boys' bathrooms. Walz allegedly failed to anticipate and react to riots in Minneapolis after the death of St. George Floyd. Even the liberal mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, slammed Walz's response to the riot. Under Walz's leadership, Minnesota gives free college tuition to illegal aliens. Walz signed a bill into law that will give driver's licenses to potentially 77,000 eligible illegal aliens, because you know what they did with that, the motor voter law. So now you're going to have at least 77,000 illegal aliens from Minnesota who are going to be registering to vote. Walz openly championed socialism last week during a White Dudes for Harris event. Can you imagine if a Republican did something like that? Walz was a radical member of the House of Representatives with Heritage Action, giving him a lifetime score of 13%. Walz attempted to cover up President Joe Biden's state of fitness for office in January. And we have Kamala Harris, who said multiple times to the American people that Joe Biden was perfectly fit for office. Now, as we analyze these revelations, one thing is clear. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are shaking up the political scene in ways we haven't seen before. Whether this will work in their favor or against them is the million-dollar question. But perhaps one of the most despicable things that Tim Walz did was, after serving 24 years in the Army National Guard, he quit on the eve of his unit being deployed to Iraq. Yes, he really did that. Thomas Behrens, another soldier, had to go in his place. This will not sit well with an overwhelming number of voters, I can assure you. Now, Behrens, a 63-year-old farmer from Brewster, Minnesota, called the Democratic vice presidential candidate a traitor for retiring from their Minnesota National Guard unit just before their deployment to Iraq in 2005. He said, quote, "When your country calls, you are supposed to run into battle, not the other way." Ooh. He then continued and said he ran away. It's sad. He had the opportunity to serve his country and said, "Screw you" to the United States. That's not who I would pick to run for vice president. And that's going to sit really hard with a lot of voters. All right. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to be kept up to date with what this crazy duo is up to. I'll see you in the next one. Spread the word.